Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Con Fuerza Experiences Wisdom Wednesdays. I am so happy you are here. This is our imperfect space to be able to talk with social justice leaders and entrepreneurs about how we pursue the work that we love while also preserving our well being and creating meaningful impact in our communities. I am so happy you're here. I am Manuela Contreras, she, her, ella, and your host. I am also the founder and chief inspiration officer of Con Fuerza Experiences, and as a leadership and business strategy consultant, coach, facilitator, and experience creator, I started Con Fuerza so leaders like yourselves can live in harmony with doing the work we love, pursuing our passion, and preserving our well-being. I am a Latina woman with caramel skin, brown wavy hair today, and brown eyes who has inherited her mom's love for jewelry. So I am wearing my layered necklace, my interlooped hoop earrings, my beaded bracelets and watch and beaded rings. And I am sitting in front of a virtual background, a cream background with a eucalyptus branch on my left and the Con Fuerza logo on my right. I want to give a special welcome back to our series. I can't believe it has been a full year since we launched this project here on LinkedIn, and I am so excited to get started again for the 2025 series. Now more than ever, it is so important for us to be able to have these conversations, to think critically not only about how we do this impactful work in our community and support how ways to dismantle these oppressive systems that are hurting so many of us, but also how we do this in a way that sustains us, that honors our whole beings. Because if we don't learn how to do this intentionally and with keeping ourselves in mind, we can't do this for a long time. And we need each other to make sure we can be here to do this beautiful work we all so much care about. So I'm excited to get started. I want to take a moment to just honor and take a moment of pause, which is very in line with our conversation, to just acknowledge so much that has happened in these past few weeks and months. So many folks that have been hurt or impacted, our loved ones, either physically, emotionally, or mentally, by what's happening with either the administration or Mother Earth and nature around us. And just thank you for being here. And my thoughts and prayers are with all of you. And I hope this conversation and this moment can be a place for us to start thinking about honoring all of those folks and ourselves in this way. And so just want to take a moment to just acknowledge that. Thank you. And I am very excited to welcome our beautiful guest, Yvonne Hernandez, which I hadn't shared with you, Yvonne, pero my family, my second name is Hernandez as well from my grandfather's side. So it's exciting to bring the Hernandezes together to chat today. And I had the privilege of meeting Yvonne through We All Grow Amigahood, which is a wonderful community that we highly recommend you connecting to as a Latina professional, and also through our business coach, Wendy Amara. We met in the peak of 2020 with all the crisis, and our journey has continued to bring us together. And what I've been so inspired by is Yvonne's work to bring 1 million children meditation. Oh, I'm so excited for y'all to learn about this. So Yvonne, I want to welcome you to our space. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, amiga. I appreciate you thinking of me and inviting me into your beautiful space. I am Yvonne Hernandez, and pronouns she and ella. I'm Latina, caramel skin, curly, dark brown hair. I have a little hint of purple, but it's kind of hard to see right now. I'm wearing a white top with my beautiful amethyst heart necklace. I love jewelry as well. I love dressing up. I love getting all dolled up. And my background, I have a white background and I have some plants and I have this beautiful purple orchid to my left. And I'm just excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much, Yvonne. It is so special to have you in our space. As for those of you who are joining us for the first time or rejoining us again, we always love to start these conversations with a somatic practice. It's a practice, a small, gentle practice that you can incorporate into your morning routine, your personal routine, or as a leader, if you want to bring it into your organization spaces for your meetings or collective spaces that you are creating. So I'm very excited. Usually I guide our practice, but Yvonne is a teacher, a Reiki master, and a meditation teacher. So she has graciously volunteered to share a practice that she wants to share with all of you. So Yvonne, I'll let you guide us in a gentle practice for today
Thank
to start
you.
our
Thank you.
ground us.
Thank you. Okay, so if you're welcome to close your eyes or have a soft gaze looking down, you're welcome to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your tummy, and just take a moment to thank yourself for taking this pause. This pause that is so needed, and it's your birthright to rest, to pause, and to check in with yourself in this moment. So let's take a big breath in together. Inhalamos profundo. Exhale, exhala. And one more time, big breath in. Inhala profundo. Exhale, noticing all the stagnant air flowing out. And let's stretch our arms out to the right and to your left, your fingers open. And let's take a big inhale to give our body a stretch. So slowly inhale, lifting up your arms all the way to the top as you take a big breath in, reaching up to the sky. And gently exhale, bringing your arms down, feeling that stagnant air flowing out. And then one more time, big breath in, inhala profundo, extending your arms up, reaching up to the sky. And exhale, exhala, filling up your body with this beautiful oxygen. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. How are you doing? And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. Bienvenidos. Thank you so much for practicing together. It's
Yes. Oh,
always nice
thank
to
you
take
for
a
being
pause in
here.
community.
Yes, absolutely. We feel the power of being able to do it together. And that's why it's so exciting to be here live for those of you that are joining live. Or, if you can bring this to your spaces and your groups or teams, it's just so nice. You can feel the intentionality and shift. Because that's really what we want to do with these moments is just take a small moment of conscious shifting to reconnect to ourselves, to our bodies, to our mind, and we'll talk about why that is so important. So let's get into it. So today I'm excited for us. Yvonne and I have been talking about, this work within our respective spaces and how much it's come up, especially this past month, around this importance of pause. And what does that mean? And how do we integrate pause, especially in a time right now when we feel this intense urgency to stand up, to fight, to speak out. But it's really important to still take this moment. So we wanted to have this conversation with all of you. And as I always recommend, y'all, for those of you joining live or even after, share your comments in the chat. We have them open and happy to answer questions as we start sharing. But Yvonne, I want to start with you. There's a reason why you're here, and I'm so excited. I would love for folks to learn a little bit more about you and your journey. So I would love to hear, and I would invite you to share with us a little bit about, what your journey, what brought you here, and what made you want to say yes to this conversation.
Thank you. So my journey started about 2002. At the time, I lived in Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas. I currently live in Southern California. But at the time, so 2002, I started this laser hair removal therapy because I just didn't want to shave my underarms anymore. It's just a female thing, you know. And I decided to do laser hair removal therapy. And then 2003, I got married. I fell in love. I said yes. I moved out to California. So I moved from Texas to California, start a whole new family, new friends, new environment, new job, like everything brand new. And then I switched to a different laser hair removal therapy. And this one felt more like rubber bands on my skin. And after a few sessions, my skin started losing its pigmentation in my underarms. And that scared me. And I'm like, what is happening? And so when I first went to the appointment for the laser hair removal, they told me that they have to disclose, it's like one in a million. In darker I guess, more melanated skin, you possibly could lose your pigmentation, right? And I'm like, yeah, 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 whatever. Let's just get this done, right? Like I've never heard of that. They always disclose, just what they have to do. I'm the one in the million. And so I stopped that, and then it just started spreading on my skin, my elbows, my back. I had, over my eyebrows, my neck, just my knees, just like started all like losing my melanin all over my skin. That took me to this downward negative toxic spiral where I hated my skin. I was angry. I was depressed. I felt embarrassed, ashamed. I felt ugly. Just, I couldn't show my skin. I couldn't show the back of my neck. And I always had to wear some sort of sleeve or 3/4 sleeve. I just don't want to show my underarms. And then at the same time, I became mom, and that's a whole other stress on your body, and trying to manage motherhood and all that stuff, plus what my skin is going through, what my body's going through, the whole change of being in a marriage and like a whole new life, right? There's a lot of changes. And when I went to the dermatologist, he said, well, vitiligo is activated by high stress. Everybody has the vitiligo gene in their body, but it's activated by high stress. Now, when I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a lot of stress on my body, leaving my safe space, Texas, my little hometown, and to a whole, to the other side of the country, right? Or halfway, I guess, to the other side of the country. Um, New friends, new family, like a whole lot of new stuff was happening. A lot of big new stuff was happening at the same time, plus the laser hair removal therapy. And that like just threw my body off. And that's what activated the vitiligo. And for a really long time, I just started, my prayers were, why me, God, why me? It was always like that. And then one day the light bulb turned on. This has to be a blessing in disguise. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm ready. Show me what I need to know. This has to be a blessing in disguise. I don't know what this means. I don't understand. I feel really uncomfortable, but I want to learn. I want to know more. At the same time, my kids were all really little. I have 3 kids. And I heard this beautiful quote by the Dalai Lama where he says, if every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence within 1 generation. And I'm like, oh, that's my kids' generation. And I'm like, okay, I really got to learn meditation. And so I had practiced a little bit. I didn't know about meditation growing up. I'd never done yoga growing up. Like none of that was in my upbringing at all. I mean, and I hear a lot of Latinos say the same thing, meditation, yoga, that's not normal. That's not talked about. That's not done, right? That's not a tool that we have, um, accessible or knowledge of, right? And so just started digging in. I would just, at the time I was running on fumes, 4 hours of sleep, and I would just put on my earbuds, listen to a meditation. It would help me feel more rested, more alert. I could function better as a parent, as a wife, as just me trying to manage life. And I figured, okay, this is what I need to learn. And I was looking around, where do I go? What school? Who's reputable? The money, the location, all these things, and things weren't lining up. And I figured eventually I'll figure it out. And then the pandemic hit. And when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And then that's through We All Grow Latina. They had a meditation 101 workshop about meditation. I mean, a meditation 101 workshop. And that's where I learned about the Chopra Center having a meditation teaching certification program. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where I need to go. I felt aligned with what they were doing. And I had heard of Deepak Chopra, but not in depth. I didn't know much about him. So once I enrolled in the program, learned that he was also inspired by the same quote. And so his mission is also to bring peace to the world. And it's just beautiful. Like everything started aligning at the same time during the pandemic. I enrolled also in a Reiki course, and also through We All Grow Latina. There was an intuition workshop, and Vanessa Codorniu led the workshop. And I'm like, that's my teacher. She gets me. She's Latina. She's talks in Spanglish, here and there, and I love it. And so I also started my Reiki journey at the same time, and I had heard about Reiki years before, but the same thing, where do I go? Who's reputable? How much and where and the timing and logistics with the kids and I'm like, "Oh, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out." But I knew that's something I wanted to do and pursue. And just everything started lining up. So as I started um so a little bit back in 3rd grade in 2017, my son was in 3rd grade, and at the time they were going through a big transition at school, construction at school, building a whole new building and stuff. And so all of 3rd grade was moved to bungalows, and I noticed something different in my son. He's always been very chill, but something was off. And so I approached his teacher and I asked, "Can I come in and teach some meditation?" And mind you, at the time, I didn't have any certification knowledge. I just knew, like, my intuition said, "You need to do something about it. Go talk to the teacher. You will figure this out." And so I did, and thanks to his teacher, she said yes, and I would go every Friday to his classroom, and we would do a meditation and a little breathwork session. And it was just me making it up on the way. Oh, today we're gonna go to the jungle, and today we're gonna go to the ocean, and then today we're gonna go to space. And it was just really fun. And I'm like, meditation can be so fun, and I just loved it. So then in 2020, once I learned about the Deepak Chopra program, I enrolled. At the end of the certification program, so this is February 2021, I heard the message, "I'm going to teach meditation to 1 million children." And I'm like, oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Everything started aligning from the quote that I heard years ago, me volunteering at my kids' school, just feeling so aligned, so in tune to just knowing that these kids, the future leaders of the world, the future world changers, are learning meditation, are learning about breath work, tools that's going to help them in their future. I wish I knew these tools as a child. It would have, man, things would have been different, managing my own, mental health and just everything, right? But I just think, wow, if we can give these beautiful, simple tools to these future leaders, this world would be a much better place. You know, the leaders would be making decisions from a place of pure love, empathy, generosity, peace, instead of this toxic, greedy, bullying mentality. And that's what drives me to know that I am helping planting these little seeds of world peace via the future world changers. And it has a beautiful ripple effect. When the children are meditating, they share with their families. Then the adults learn about meditation too. And it's just beautiful when I talk to the kids that I've been teaching and they say, "Oh yeah, I told my mom," or, "I saw that she was really upset and I asked her, 'Mom, can we breathe together? Can we just take a moment together? Can we pause together?'" And then the adult learns about meditation and about breath work, and then beyond. It helps them in their work environment, in their life. So it's gonna help in their community, it's gonna help in their city, in the country, and the world, It's just
Mhm.
beautiful. So it's 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 helping everybody. So, and
Oh,
it's easy, like, you don't have to buy anything physical. It's all within you, which is the most beautiful part.
mm,
It's all within you.
mm, absolutely. Wow. Wow,
Wow.
wow, wow. Thank you so much for grounding us in this beautiful journey that has brought you here, has brought you to this incredible mission and to this conversation because it just all aligns. Everything that
And
you're
one more
saying. I love
thing.
how you Oh, please.
Thank you. I just realized I forgot one of the most important things. So, as I started practicing meditation, and even before I started changing a lot of my mindset, I no longer watch the news,
Mhm.
even though people think I'm crazy that I don't watch the news. It's been over probably 15 years that I don't watch the news now that I think about
Mm,
it. Um, Scary movies, horror movies, like even action movies, I kind of limit how much like my body is like, que se me acelera el cuerpo, like I have to like, okay, I love being in this calm bubble. I love it, right? So because of all these changes that I was doing and incorporating meditation and breath work and a lot of these beautiful tools, my melanin started coming back. So my
mhm.
vitiligo stopped and it started reversing. So my elbows are back to beautiful brown
Wow.
and even the back of my neck. So like even all right here. This was all white, girl.
Wow.
All of this was white
Beautiful.
and it's back to beautiful brown. And I'm like, thank you, God. Like, and it was all because I started listening to my intuition and being open to, okay, I'm gonna learn. I'm ready to learn. What do I need to know? And just
Mhm,
really listening and checking in with myself. Huge change. I mean, I went through burnout also. And now it's like, I don't
mhm,
wanna go back to that. I love taking this pause. And even though sometimes there's moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. But I'm like, but it's about my mental health. There's only one amazing, beautiful me in this world. My body is my temple. I got to take care of me. So I'm going to pause at this
mhm,
moment because I really need it. My body really needs it at this moment, no matter what's happening, in the world or at this moment. So yeah, I
mhm.
remember I had to share that one bit because it makes a
Yes,
difference, right?
of
When you
course.
actually practice meditation, mindfulness, breath work, all these different tools, it makes a big difference in your body. I mean, not just mentally, emotionally, but physically too.
Yeah,
Because when you're under a lot of stress, that creates inflammation in your body. And inflammation in
mhm,
your body can lead to illnesses and diseases. So sometimes people wonder like, why do I have this pain here? And why da da da? Like I don't have any family history of da da da. And what does a doctor ask you? Are you under any stress? Hello. Stress is what throws everything off. So if you could
mhm.
prevent, I mean, yes, there's times, where stress you need the stress, right, to kind of move you and whatever, right? But not when it's all the time 24/7. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
messes with you. You can't think, um you can't focus, you can't move forward, you feel stuck. Just so much happens. I mean, and physically too, you have to go to the doctor and get all this medication to help with this, and then there's a side effect, so now you need another medication to help with that side effect that leads to the other side effect, and it's just nuts,
never
right?
ends.
When
Yeah.
it could have been preventative just by taking a pause, taking a breath,
Mm, mm.
taking that moment, checking in.
Yes. Oh, and I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that as the results, right? I think a lot of times our brain wants to go to justify it, to explain it, but why is this important and why do I need to do that? Especially early on in our journey when we're first learning how to integrate these practices into our work, we sometimes have trouble finding the why is this as important as this other work that is supporting the community or is supporting our family or supporting all this. But when we can hear the evidence, the experiences like you've had and are sharing with us, no, this has a, a genuine and meaningful and long term impact, not only on our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, how that ripples out into our community just by us continuing to take care of us. And so, thank you so much for naming that and how it supported you. And hearing these stories, it is really important, especially for folks that are, again, learning why this may be of value. So, I love that, and I something that I heard you talk about throughout, I love the analogy of the ripples, and absolutely use that analogy so much. Just these simple choices that we make that feel so big, but when we really get down to it, they are simple choices that we can have in our life that really create all these beautiful ripples out. And what I heard you say, it was like you talked about, it was the choice of pause. That choice of you choosing when all of these changes were happening externally that were happening and also close to you and your family and physically within you, it feels like, Dios mío, how can what can I do? What can I do? It feels so out of your control. But what I heard in your story is that choosing to pause in that moment and not allow the waterfall of everything that was happening you continuing to take you, but just choosing to pause there in that moment impacted and gave you the space to really hear, to listen, to understand what was happening. So I love that. I want to talk a little bit about that, just that moment for you of when you chose to pause and what you learned about your body. Why do you think that was so important in that moment to do that?
Intuitively, I knew that's what I needed.
Mm,
And then beyond, I started learning more how taking this pause scientifically, automatically, as soon as you take a deep breath, for example, and the breath is the foundation of any mindfulness practice, any meditation practice, any yoga practice. The breath is the foundation, right? As soon as you take a deep breath, immediately the cells in your body start shifting. Your brain, neurons as well. Everything starts repairing in simple terms, right? I don't want to get to all the technical about it, but basically your body starts repairing itself because now it's no longer focused on the stress that you have, on the injury that you have, the illness that you have. When you take the pause, and it's like when the doctor says, right, when you get sick, get some rest in order to heal your body. So that's what the
mhm,
pause is. When you take a pause, you're allowing your body to heal. And we go through so much, right? We've been through so much, from childhood and probably before, from our ancestors. We carry their traumas as well. And so and even in the present moment, if you're going through challenges right now, as soon as you take that deep breath, as immediately your body's like, okay, let me start repairing. And
mhm,
then you take another deep breath. Okay, have a little bit more time to start repairing. And then a little bit more and a little bit more. And when you really pause to notice how you feel, so maybe the next time you take a deep breath throughout the day, before you take that pause, just kind of notice, how am I doing? How am I feeling? And then take that deep breath in, or a few deep breaths in, if time allows, preferably. um, and then check in again. How do I feel now after taking a few deep breaths, after just closing my eyes for a moment? How do I feel? Because immediately your body is like quick. It's Our bodies are amazing, amazing at
mm,
healing ourselves when we allow them to do so.
mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And that is so critical that when we allow, because I think something even in my own journey, I remember at the beginning people asking me, "Well, what does your body need?" I remember that question seeming so simple, and I had no idea how to answer it. Like, I've never thought about what my body needs. I've thought about what my mind needs, maybe to calm my nerves and things like that, but I had never thought about well, what is my body asking me? We tend to push that to the side
Mm.
so much, but one of the steps that I think a lot of us forget before we can answer that question is learning to listen to it, learning to really hear what it is trying to tell us, because sometimes when you first ask yourself, well, what does your body need? You have no idea because you don't know how to listen to it. And in these moments of being able to take this pause and just sit with yourself is when you learn how to listen. It's the same thing as if you were in a relationship, right? If you're feeling like you are constantly talking over each other and constantly speaking, and everyone's trying to get their opinions in, and and everyone's screaming, I don't feel heard, I don't feel heard. Why? Because no one is taking a moment to just pause and listen.
Mhm.
Everyone just wants to talk. So that's how our body starts getting conditioned to, our mind tries to talk, our body tries to talk, external things try to, everything's trying to talk at the same time. And so when we take a moment to pause and say, how about I don't let my mind talk? How about I just let my mind listen and see what my body is asking, or vice versa, right? It's so different. And so I feel like that is sometimes why it's so hard for us to even be able to answer a simple question as what does our body need?
Mhm. True, very true.
But
And we weren't taught to listen to our body. We were
mm,
taught to, like, or most people that I know, "Go, go, go. Do the thing. What are you doing? You're not doing anything. Go, move. Gotta keep busy, gotta
mhm,
keep moving, gotta keep working, gotta survive."
mhm.
We're in this survival, hustle mode mentality culture.
Exactly, exactly. And now more than ever, I mean, I think there has been a lot of spaces of trying to push against that urgency culture, that hustle culture, to go, 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 go. And I was starting to really feel that up until last year. I was starting to feel like, okay, a lot of folks are starting to talk about it. And we really all do want to slowly start to slow down a bit. But the minute this administration got into office and we are feeling under attack, I felt everyone's energy go back to that place of we need to go, we need to do, we need to fight, we need to seek. And again, I'm not saying this is bad. Absolutely, we do. And also, how do we find this harmony? Where is this? So, Yvonne, this is something I would love to hear from you of, I know you mentioned you haven't seen the news in 15 years, which I find fascinating. I would love to hear about that. But that choice has not stopped you from working in the community. I know during the fires, you were out in the community creating spaces to support other healers and other community members. So how do you feel like that choice of not listening to the news has also supported you in still being able to integrate and do the work in the community that you care about?
Mhm. And yeah, for those that are wondering, how do you not know what's going on in the world? I trust that whatever I need to know, I will hear. Or someone will tell me, like my husband will tell me, or a friend will tell me, or it'll pop up on my feed. But um, so I'm not completely out of what's happening. I know what I need to know, and I'm good with that. um, but I feel like sorry, remind me again. I went off.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So how do you feel like you've still been able to activate yourself in the community? I mean, you're still known as a community leader. You still do community justice work and do this work out in the community, given, the work you were doing during the fires. Like, you are a leader. It does not matter how you're absorbing the information, you said that. So how
Mhm.
have you found that harmony in when you are out in the community, finding a moment to pause and integrate this as you're doing this work that you care about?
Yeah, and it's being in community and knowing that this work is so needed, and even collaborating with other amazing healers as well, coming together, knowing that we are doing our part to help them, to support them with what the major tragedies, traumas that they're currently going through, that's what moves me. That's what motivates me. It's like we are doing something for our community that is so needed because when people go through traumas and tragedies, people immediately like close up because they're dealing with this heaviness, which is understandable, right? And then that's when we rely on our community to help us, to support us, to, let us know, hey, I got your hand. I'm here to hold your hand. I got you. And so that's what moves me. And those around me though, right? For just by being me, it's like, hey, we're going to do this. Who's with me? We're going to meet on this day at this time at this location. This is what we're going to do. Who's open to doing so? And it's been beautiful. Beautiful collaborations have come out of it. And we're still working on more things together as well. But community is the main thing, knowing that we are there to support, and whoever hears the call will be there as well, locking arms together to
Yeah.
support.
Absolutely. I love that. And, big reason why I'm asking, and because I think it's important for us to remember there are so many roles in this initiative, in this place of wanting to dismantle and these oppressive systems and wanting to support others. We can find ourselves feeling confined to what it means for me to support others is being an activist and policymaker and being on the hill or fighting this or fighting that. But the reason and what I love about hearing about your story is there are so many roles that are needed. And it is so important for us to ground ourselves in our strengths, in what we bring, and that our essence, our natural gifts are enough. And that is such a pure and that is such an important part of this work because one thing that I learned from you that I loved is the work that you do around healing the healers,
Mm.
the healers that are going out there. And just as activists, for example, they are going out to heal these communities and speak to them, but who's supporting the activists that are going out and supporting other folks? And so there are so many roles that are part of this journey of how we can support community members. And it's about accepting and loving and appreciating all those different roles that play. One big role that you're talking about is the role of a mother. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. And that being such a beautiful and important role. And I know a lot of mothers in my life, mothers that I worked with within these organizations, always found that challenge of my goodness, how do I manage it all? How do I manage all these different roles as a mother, as as an organization leader, as an activist, as an entrepreneur, as a philanthropist, whatever all these roles that you are taking on. And so Yvonne, one of the things that I love about the work that you do is your integration with wanting to bring this to children. And what I hear is bringing this back to the family unit. And so I'm so curious, like what you talked about your mission of when we can do this for our children, how that ripples in. I would love to see like what have you learned in addition to what you've shared about the support, like what have you learned about bringing this to children and then bringing this to families that are not used to seeing this or like you said have not been raised with these ideas of pause and meditation.
One of the major things that comes up is busting the myth that meditation will change your religion. I've been asked that several
Mm,
times. They're like, "Oh, I've been hesitant to try because it's not, this religion that I'm currently practicing, because I don't want to switch to another religion." And then they were open to it because they saw what their child was practicing. It's like we're breathing together, we're taking a pause together. That's all it is. It's that. It's not about changing a religion. Actually, it supports your religion, when you pray, Jesus meditated. So, it's it's a beautiful practice. That's all it is. It's not about changing anything. And so I even had a mom, she was so sweet. She's like, "I practiced a little bit of breath work, but I never tried meditation," because we had done a family, a virtual meditation, for that session, and, at the end of the meditation, she was so thankful that she was open to it. She was hesitant at the beginning because of the misconception, right? And then once
Mhm.
she did, she said, "I felt so good. I feel so good right now. Thank you so much for sharing this with my kid. And now I understand, and now I can practice it, and I feel really good." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for that," and that's all it is. It's about, helping your well-being, which you as the parent is helping the whole entire family, and beyond. So that's one of the main
Mhm.
things that comes up.
I love that. I love that. And what are a few of these like common maybe like when there's someone that's maybe having a hard time starting that and starting to integrate a pause and meditation into their lives, what is something that you encourage to start with to ways of how they can integrate it?
Definitely. A lot of people think that they need the perfect space, the lighting, the candle, the crystals, the cushion, the blanket, whatever, the Instagram, picture, in their head. And meditation can be anywhere. It could be at the side of your bed, it could be, on the floor, it could be, sitting in your car, parked preferably. You know, it could be anywhere, and it could even be with your eyes open. There's different forms of meditation too, an active walking meditation. You can close your eyes if you are in a safe environment to do so. So there's different forms. There's breath work as well that's so supportive. So it doesn't have to be this special place in order to have a meditation practice, with all the things. It's like, no, it could be wherever you are, as you are, no special clothing required. You don't have to get into your yoga pants or whatever, shorts or whatever.
Mhm.
um, it's as you are in that moment. If you're at work, right before a meeting, you can meditate, for a few moments, in your suit, in your outfit or whatever, in your uniform, it doesn't matter. Um, Wherever you are. The other thing is that it has to be in silence. No, as I mentioned, there's different forms of meditation. It doesn't have to be silence. Yes, the one that I teach mostly is a silence meditation. It's a mantra based meditation, which is so, so good if you want to get to this next level of consciousness where you just really rest. It's like a deeper rest. And that's called primordial sound meditation. And that's what I'm certified in. And but I do teach different forms of meditation. And then also the timing, like it has to be 30 minutes or, in order for it to work. No, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. If you have 5 minutes, that's amazing. Take the 5 minutes and do a 5-minute meditation. I actually have a 5-minute bilingual meditation podcast, and it was inspired by those people that say, "I don't have any time. I'm so busy. I have this and then pick up the kids, or I have meetings all day long and I work 80 hours a week," or what I don't know, whatever they say, right? All the excuses, right? You have 5 minutes.
Mhm.
You have 5 minutes in your day to prioritize yourself. You have to prioritize yourself because if not, you're going to fall apart. You won't be able to function, and you're irreplaceable, basically,
Mm.
And so
Yes.
those are all the main ones that I hear. And yeah, I'm here to bust them all.
Yes, and you're doing it, amiga. You are doing it. And this is how we get to do it is these multidisciplinary, multi avenues away. Like I think that is something that has been so supportive in my own reflection of really being able to see work that is meaningful and impactful in the community is not getting stuck to this one way of being, one way of having to do things, but opening ourselves up to the possibilities of many things can exist at the same time, many ways can lead to a similar result. And finding the way that works for you is okay. You don't need to do it this one way, like you're saying, in a fancy yoga studio with all these, sitting in your car after you drop off your kids, or taking a minute or two before you jump into that meeting, or taking my biggest savior has been taking a walk with my dog, and in the middle of the day right before a meeting, honoring that, taking and listening as I'm walking, and instead of listening to a podcast, or taking a call that I used to do all the time to be as productive as possible in every moment, even on my walks, I stopped doing that. Now I listen to the birds as I'm walking. I watch Benny, my dog, and see how he interacts with the nature. I see if there's a little bird. We have a lot of wildlife out here in Florida, so fascinated by all the different birds and species, and even listening to little new sounds that I had not heard before, because I now am choosing to really just take that moment. And what a walk can be, a few minutes can be just a little loop around the block, and how impactful that can be. And so that's what we're always encouraged. I love talking about and listening to folks share about their ways of how they're integrating all of this work, because we each get to choose what works for us. And so always welcome everyone who's listening. Share your approaches of how you're taking pause in your day. But I want to take a moment in all of our conversations with Wisdom Wednesdays, because they are geared towards leaders. We find leaders in all spectrums, right? And I believe leading from your seat is so important. You always have the choice of leading from wherever you are. Um, and also putting it on one person is unjust, because we have so many things around it. We live in a larger system and larger organizations and environment, that also make an impact on how we can succeed as well, right? And so we talked a bit about the individual choices we can make to integrate this, but also if you're in a position of power, in a position of being able to implement this into your organization, let's talk about your roles there too. And so, Yvonne, I would love to know, with your experience working with different organizations and communities, schools, what is something that organizational leaders that have the choice of bringing this into a larger community, what is something that you think they can do to integrate pause into their cultures and structures?
Yes, definitely. I recommend having that added into their day, something that every day at a certain time, pick a time. Maybe it's by department, because sometimes there's departments that are on call for a specific, urgency or whatever. So maybe it's by department. At this time, we're going to take a 5-minute pause. Phones down, do not disturb, 5 minutes to reset. It could be company wide. Everybody, phones down, laptops down, devices off, and we're going to take a pause together and breathe together if possible. It could be as simple as that. And I learned that from the Chopra Center, learning that they, as an organization, company wide, they meditate together. I'm like, that is so beautiful as a company. I've never heard that before. And of course, they're all amazing, humans over there working over there, and always have this just beautiful energy around them. Why? Because they're calm, they're checking in, they reset throughout the day. And imagine if every organization did that, no matter what type of organization it is, if it's a corporate or a nonprofit or whatever it is, right? If you took that pause, I mean, even at a hospital, it could be, okay, during this time, this department or this department, because of course there's a lot of urgency, in the hospital, right? But there's always a way. There is always a way to take a pause, even if it's individual, you know, um,
Mhm.
pauses that are taken. But I recommend have that discussion and add it as something that has to be done, because when you do, then it allows people to reset. They can think better, they can focus better, they can work better instead of being so stressed out that, they can't think anymore, they're frustrated, they're angry, and then the work is, you know, you can't even figure out what they're doing or it's not productive, right? But if you took the 5 minutes, it makes a world of a difference, you know?
Mhm.
Just 5 minutes. Everybody has the 5 minutes throughout their day, and preferably more than 5 minutes. And even if it's in chunks, like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes midday, and then 5 minutes in the afternoon. That's 15 minutes in your day right there, easy.
Mhm.
But it's choosing to do so too. And, motivating the people and sharing with them. If you took a 5-minute break, your body's going to feel amazing. Let's just try it and check in. How did that feel when you took that pause and have those conversations together? And there's some people that need the research because they don't believe in meditation, that it doesn't do anything. Google, Google, Google it, right? You can go to the chopra.com. They have a ton of research already that they've done. And of course, Google has a ton of research. If you just type in benefits of meditation, scientific benefits, scientific research on meditation, whatever your keyword is, to help motivate those that, are skeptical about meditation or just even breath work or just, you know what, I'm just going to pause, sit still. That's it. I mean, it could be as simple as that, right? So
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Those are so, so rich and so sincere. Something that I hear that is so, so important is I mean, we talked a lot about this with the impact on the body, the science. Thank you, naming it. There is already science for those of you that do need that data point. There is so much, especially if you're in a position where you're trying to bring this into an organization and your boss or your manager may not understand why this is important. You can provide the data, and there is so much data that shows that when we can take moments of pause, we can make more conscious choices. Why is that so important? Oh my. How many of us have been in a situation where we are just going, and we forget something, or we made a mistake, or we intentionally cause harm? That expression of even best intentions can cause harm.
mm,
Sometimes it's not just about having the best intentions, because even if we all came in here wanting to do a really beautiful event for a certain community, but we didn't take the moment to pause before the community, before the event, and we created this entire event out of our own assumptions or biases or our own version of what we thought this particular community needed, instead of taking a moment to pause and ask, hey, I'm creating an event for you. I have my experience of what I think are ideas, but what do you need as a community member? And having that not only allows you to genuinely have your intentions align with the impact that you want to create, but it also gives folks a space of feeling heard, of
mm,
feeling, oh, wow, this person isn't just here to check a box or, get the grant or get the picture for the website. We've seen it all, right? But are really here because they actually care. And that's what I think is so powerful about these practices as an organization leader, as a CEO who is saying they want to create cultures that are inclusive, that people feel valued, that people feel heard.
mhm,
This is what it's going to take. Not all the fancy gizmos and gadgets, a simple moment to pause and actually listen to what folks are saying. And if you've been on these calls before, I've said it before, and being ready to actually integrate it. Because the worst feeling, the most common practice that loses trust across organizations and with leaders is when you invite your employees or your team members to come and share their vulnerability, their thoughts, their opinions, and you do nothing with them
mm,
and you ignore it. Or worse, you do the opposite, right? Even after I've been told exactly how they feel. So not only being really thoughtful about the importance of why we need to pause and listen to people, but also being ready to genuinely take it in. If you're a manager and a boss who wants to integrate these meditations or moments of reflection to listen to others, making sure you yourself are going into in that meeting ready and receptive to listen to it. And if you're not, say it. Hey,
Mhm.
y'all, I thought that I know today was Wednesdays with listening. And maybe you start implementing that a monthly Wednesday listening session, right? And I know that was our intention today, but I'm going to be honest. I'm not feeling 100% ready to listen. How about we just take a moment to just quiet, to sit in silence for 5 minutes instead? That's an
Mhm.
option as well. That's completely okay. But those choices of you knowing that within yourself and then knowing the type of leader that you want to be is so important in how we integrate this. So I just thank you, Yvonne, for being so clear about it just takes 5 minutes
Mhm.
and also, what it means before the 5 minutes and after the 5 minutes as well. And again, these are when I talk about reflections. It's also okay to do nothing in the 5 minutes.
And
But
one
it's
thing
always
that came up when you were sharing about how to phrase it, we're just gonna take a moment and we're just gonna be in silence. Some people have a hard time with the word meditation. You don't have to call it meditation. Pause, which is the title of our conversation, right? So if that organization is kinda jumpy or, uncomfortable with the word meditation, mindfulness, let's have a mindful moment. Let's have a pause. Even those words can make a big difference on how you present it to your organization, to your company, to your group, to your school, to your family. It makes a big difference. It's all the same thing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that so much. And I want to ground us in what you said. When we can take a moment of pause, when we can meditate or find the word that's most aligned to you. Thank you for opening us again to a possibility that there could be multiple words, but the intention is still there to just pause. We can speak to each other from a place of generosity, of love, of peace. I love that you grounded us in that. How many of us have felt an anger or a strong emotion come up and we just share it out of reactiveness? This is something as leaders, if you feel frustrated, you feel that anger or sadness or whatever that emotion, that big emotion come up, and your nature is to react, this is a great tool to help you take a moment to pause and be like, is this really the way I want to react? Is this the leader I want to be? Do I want to be a reactive leader? If I say something, what do I really want to say? Because sometimes we just speak from just like the quick reaction and we don't take a moment to really realize, oh, but that's not what I actually meant. That was actually tied to something else. Maybe I hadn't eaten and I actually was just very, very hungry and I
Yeah.
took it out on my employee because they were the first person or they activated something in me, but it actually had nothing to do with that employee. So what do we do? Instead of reacting right away, let's pause. Let's say, is this them? Is this the situation? Is this something bigger than us right now? Or is this me? And do I need to go get a snack or a cup of water because I've been working too long?
And imagine if you taught this to the child who's the future leader of this
Mm,
organization, of this company, of this school. If you taught them that, if you take a pause, you will now have the ability to think about what you're gonna say and respond
mm,
instead of react. It's
exactly.
it's just so beautiful. And
Mhm.
I think the leaders right now of the world that are doing all these not so wise decisions, if they took a pause, if they checked in with themselves, I'm like, maybe you just need a hug. That's why you're making all these
Yeah.
terrible decisions because no one gave you a hug, or because you didn't have your breakfast, or because I don't know, because you didn't breathe, you didn't take a deep breath in, and you're just reacting. And usually,
Yes.
and that's what we're taught, a lot of us are taught to react because we're on survival mode, you know? And our ancestors
Mhm.
were on survival mode to survive, to, either to immigrate or those that are already here. And I mean, everyone was about survival. I mean, no matter how many generations back you go, everyone at one point was trying to survive. No one was handed a silver spoon. I mean, well, some, right? But very few. But the majority, right? No matter where you came from or if you were already here, there was always some type of survival, and you're just trying to do the thing in order to survive and help your family survive. And so we have that ingrained in us. So we have to undo this and learn the tools to help us to respond.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, there's so much richness here. I know that we could continue to talk about this
Right.
forever, but I am just so grateful to you, Yvonne. Thank you so much for grounding us. There's so many nuggets that, I personally got out of this conversation, and I welcome folks to share it in the comments. But so much of your journey, your wisdom that you've shared with us of the value, I love you said it. We have one body. Wait, I wrote it down. Yep, we only have one beautiful me, and there's only one beautiful me in this work. Absolutely, there's only one beautiful one of each of us, and how important it is to honor and care for that. The fact that you grounded us in the reality of how important pause can be not only to our emotional and mental health, but our physical health, and how that can ripple out to our community, to our family, but long term to our own full health. I love that we got to hear about your different roles and how your different roles as a healer, as a meditation teacher, as a Reiki master, as a mother, as a community leader, all of these, as an entrepreneur, all of these different roles have allowed you and us to receive so much of your support. And so continuing to connect to that native and organic, I love intuitive guidance that has guided you so much throughout your journey. So thank you for sharing those gems and those pockets of wisdom and the choices that we can make to just take a pause. I want to end with one final question that I ask all my guests, which is living a life con fuerza is about reclaiming our inner power to live in alignment with our values. So, Yvonne, how are you choosing to live a life con fuerza, or what does living a life con fuerza with strength mean to you?
Hmm. Acknowledging that the pause is my birthright. That's what I feel. Because my ancestors weren't able to rest, so I feel like I rest for them. And also, what comes up is rest is resistance.
Mm.
Well, so
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, other folks that are doing this restful work. Thank you. That is so beautiful. The book Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hershey, so, so powerful. And yesterday we were talking about Ana Flores now launching her own work around stopping this hustle culture as well. All of these resources are going to be available on our research page, and it is just so, so special. I want to give a moment, Yvonne, to you if you want to share any upcoming events or work or ways that folks can connect with you, or how we can support your beautiful work.
thank you. So, one last thing I wanted to share. So, my underarms are still white, but my melanin is coming in case people are wondering, well, are her underarms back to brown? Because I didn't mention that. But my melanin is coming in, but for the spots that were not as intense, those are back to beautiful brown. So I have several events coming up. All my events are listed in my website or in my links. If you go to decidebalance.com slash links, you'll find all my stuff there. My events, I have an event February 26th in Long Beach. I'll be at Casita Bookstores. We'll be doing a writing meditation workshop, and then I'll be in New Jersey in March 14th doing an overnight sound bath retreat. in collaboration with Soupy Glow, one of my beautiful hermanas. And then in April, I have an event planned in Miami, so stay tuned. I also have a beautiful community called Oasis where we meditate together in community. You can bring your kiddos, you watch the recording if you're not able to meditate live together with us. And I have some other big projects. I have a teen book coming up. And then I have a very special day coming up that I've been planning. Can't say much about it yet, but just follow me, follow the journey. There's a lot of big things coming up. And then another big project that I can give a sneak peek is having a large number of children meditating together. So that's a huge project that I'm working on. So follow my journey so you can learn more about that. And yeah, join the movement to be, to help me reach 1 million kids to meditate, helping kids. And I'm open to collaborations. Fly me wherever I'm in to go teach meditation and the importance of meditation to our future world changers. And I have the podcast as well, which Manuela will put the link as well. You can listen to that. I'll have more episodes coming up. So stay tuned to those. But yeah, lots of goodness, lots of really fun things coming up. So yeah, just follow me and you'll be updated. You can join my newsletter as well. I have a 5-minute bilingual sleep meditation that you can join by signing up to my newsletter. And I send out all my events and updates via my newsletter as well. So yay, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Oh,
And,
of
just
course.
if and you at home, thank you for watching. And just a quick reminder to check in with yourself and take a deep breath. Take a deep breath is so, so important. So I want to leave you with that reminder. You are so important. There's only one amazing, beautiful you in this world. So take care of yourself. It's as simple as taking a deep breath, even if it's a minute, 5 minutes, whatever it is that you have. Just start implementing that pause every single day in your life, and it's going to make a world of a difference for you, your family, your community, and beyond. So, gracias.
Yes. Oh, Yvonne, thank you so much. All your love and your intentionality is so felt in everything that you do. Before we leave, I want to remind you that if you haven't already visited our resource, our leadership and well-being resource library, you can get all the magical gifts and in links to everything that Yvonne has been sharing, all of her events, the books that we talked about and resources that we talked about, and all these incredible meditations that Yvonne has created for us on Spotify, these 5-minute quick meditations that y'all can do for yourselves. And they're in Spanish and English. So, see, we need these resources for our full community. I'm really excited to share that we will be doing our next Wisdom Wednesday will be on February 26th. So bi-weekly for this year. We're going to be doing bi-weekly lives in these conversations, and we're going to be talking about our burnout cycles, what these are, how to manage them, how we can move to what Yvonne was sharing with us today, the survival place, to understanding these burnout cycles with a dear friend, Nicole Torres. She is a Latina burnout coach, and I'm excited because I'll be live with her. So it'll be our first session together, doing it live in Yucca Valley, which will be so, so special to be out in the desert. And last but not least, amigos and amiguis and amigas, the Con Fuerza website is launched. Oh, it has been a big project that I've been working on the past few months, and I'm so excited to share it out. So please take a moment to jump on to confuerza.com, confuerzaexperiences.com, to learn about our offerings, to learn about our story and our approach and what we are doing. If you want to bring this work back out to your community, if you are ever looking for workshops or consulting opportunities, holistic leadership coaching with myself, or if you want to host one of these incredible conversations and community conversations within your organizations, we can put together this type of conversation for you, either in person or on LinkedIn or virtually. So thank you all so, so much for listening, for being present, for taking this moment for you, that as Yvonne reminded us, it is our birthright. I am so excited to see you in 2 weeks, or Yes, in 2 weeks. Have a beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Un abrazo grande. Bye, everyone. Yay. Yeah. Okay.